What's up, everybody? I'm Nick.
And I'm Colin.
And we are Still Bussin'. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this show. This is Still Bussin', and however you got here, whether you accidentally stumbled across it, or you're a family or a friend, or by some way the algorithm referred you here, we're glad to have you, and we really believe that you're here for a reason. So hopefully you'll stick around for a few minutes and let us share what we know, what little we know about life. So basically what Still Bussin' is all about is it's this idea that no matter your situation in life, despite its ups and downs, there's always a reason that things are still bussin', right? Your situation may not always be amazing, but you can create an outlook for yourself or have this mantra of you're going to find a way to learn from this. And that's why things can still be bussin' for you. So that's what Still Bussin' means. And that's why we are calling this show that.
And if you're not familiar with the term bussin', like my mom wasn't up until about 4 weeks ago, it basically is a youthful term that we're definitely too old for. About things are just good. Like bussin' is a very positive thing. I think it's silly that we are, part of the joke is obviously that we're saying bussin', which I would probably be escorted out of a room if I said it in my day-to-day life. But yeah, life is good. And we think that by talking about it and by highlighting why life is good and how life is good, and a lot of those aspects that people maybe get caught up on. I know we have in the past. We've been caught up on something that we thought was the end of the road. I mean, it was the days of days, and all of a sudden we trudged through it. We kept moving forward, and 6 days later, 6 weeks later, 6 months later, we're just like, oh, everything's great. And with that thing that we thought was the end of the road, it was just the quickest of hiccups in the grand scheme. And so we keep it bussin'. We still bussin'.
It's a funny vernacular term, and we're probably too old to be using it, but it's what the hip kids are saying these days, right? I think bussin' is like, it came from like food, right? People are saying, oh, those tacos were bussin'.
Yeah.
Or bussin'. So
I just heard it on Instagram first.
Yeah, we just started saying it for fun, and obviously we're just keeping it lighthearted and just sort of laughing at ourselves. Yeah. But we just found that there is kind of like some meaning to it if you just say, you know what, still bussin'. And this is all about, it's not necessarily about always finding the silver lining and things are always great and look at the bright side. It's more of like that mantra to say, you may be going through rough times, or you may go through some really hard stuff and situations that are definitely not bussin', like sicknesses or job losses or relationship issues, right? Like the situation may not always be bussin', but the fact that you can kind of like look at it and say, you know what, I'm going to keep moving on. Yeah. I'm going to stay grounded. It's kind of like a mantra to ground yourself. So
absolutely.
So how you doing, Colin?
Oh man, I'm still bussin'. No, you're spot on. I think we've had, as we said, we've had so many ups and downs, and you and I have known each other for, what do we say, about 20 years now? Like 21 years now?
Don't date us, bro.
But we've been there through easy times, hard times, good times, bad times. Again, days of days, and what we thought was the finish line, and like we would have these conversations and we would talk things out. And something I've always appreciated about you was I have noticed every time I'm in a conversation with you, the way that we communicate brings out the best communication in me. I notice myself articulating things and being more open and honest in conversations with you than I am with a lot of people, because we've known each other for so long. We have a similar outlook on life. And I think part of that was, and part of the creation of this and the reason we're doing this was as we started to have conversations, as we did moments before recording this, we were touching on things that were really positive, and a lot of people maybe don't get that view of it and that understanding of the high after the low, right? Mm-hmm. They only see the low. They only see the horrible Instagram videos saying that like, it's great if everyone hates you, keep grinding, never sleep, hate your life. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that, you know what I mean? There can be ups and downs in life, and the downs are allowed to suck as long as you just keep moving forward and you keep doing those things. And then again, through our conversations, I've grown a lot from bouncing ideas off you. And I know that we've talked through things before. And so it's like, it was just this idea of like, well, we feel like we have a grasp on some things that a lot of people our age might not, and a lot of people older than us might not, and a lot of people younger than us might fear. And so it was like, if there's any world where our goofing around conversations can add any positivity to someone's life or remove one question mark out of their day. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, that's a win.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a pretty meaningful purpose. Yeah. No, dude, I thought you communicated that way with everyone, but I'm stoked to hear that I bring out kind of or help bring out some good communication and, allow you to see the positivity that you bring to the room because, I'll even, whenever I'm hanging out with you, I'll leave us, doing something. I'm like, gosh, he's always so uplifting. He's always so positive. He always sees the best. And I wonder either he's severely depressed or he's actually just like a happy, great dude. So I'd like to believe the latter, that you're just seeing the best in life and, you're.
What's nuts is I think I've come to realize in recent years, and again, going back to the whole core of why we want to do the show and talk on these subjects is like, I actually believe those two things can coexist. Some of the worst times in my life had the happiest moments. And some of the happiest times in my life, I was dealing with the worst thing at the time or a very terrible subject. And so it's like the idea that we live in this black-white existence of one day is good, one day is bad. It's like, I appreciate you saying, I've had a few friends mention that my positivity can be cartoonish at times and not always believable, but like,
dude, your whole vibe is you're basically a walking cartoon. Yeah. I mean, if you're just watching this now and you're seeing the way that this guy looks, he's little bit hair up here, lot of hair down here.
I look like most wanted sketches that you would see. Yeah. But no, it's like I've always seemed to see things positively, even when things were horrible. And then I know we have friends, and I've got friends in my career and in my industry where like, I look at them and I'm like, dude, if I had your career, I would be so cruising. Like they're making crazy money. They've got the biggest studios in the world at their beck and call, and all they can see is what's wrong. And there's this idea of like, well, it's never this and it's never that. And it's just the idea of shifting your framework of how you view things and how you view like, that does suck. That aspect does totally suck. But like everything else around it is still bussin'. And that's all you got to kind of look at is instead of that one little tiny dot that is like the tarnishment on this moment. Fuck that dot. Everything else is great.
And demonetized. Yeah. Thank you so much. First episode, and no one's going to sponsor us. Thanks. That's a huge point that you talk on too. Is embracing the feelings, right? Yeah. I don't know. For those of us who's been to therapy, it's very, very helpful to realize you got to take the moments to embrace the feelings of whether things suck, whether things are breaking your heart. There are rough moments. It's definitely not like, no, turn that away and just keep it black and white. You're just positive. Everything's great. Yeah. You definitely need to take the time to feel emotions fully, go all the way through the process. But I think still bussin' is, where do you go from here? Where do you go from that low point? You know what? You just gotta still bussin'. You just gotta still keep bussin'.
Keep it in bussin', baby.
So that is why we're calling this what we're calling it, and that's hopefully going to be a very fun and uplifting journey for all of us and for everyone who decides to listen. So we're super stoked that you've decided to listen this far, and hopefully you stick around for some more great hard-hitting content. And yeah, it's so great to have you guys here.